This morning, a look back at a life lost and its implications in our society today. We're talking with Stuart Harris. He's a professor of law at the Duncan School of Law at Lincoln Memorial University and host of your weekly Constitutional, the radio show. Welcome in.
Josh.
I heard around the world.
Absolutely heard around the world,
and
just like WJHL.
Oh, well, you know.
People watch all over the world, over the internet.
Planet.
Of course. I mean,
That's
what would
changed.
you rather watch?
You know, I can't think of a thing right now.
No. So
Give me a
somebody
second.
in Timbuktu is watching us over the internet, so
It
it's
happens.
marvelous. It does.
And you know, that brings me to the idea of what we're talking about, that some things need to be talked about and some things need to be never forgotten and spoken about around the world. And it would have been really possible to have the name Elbert Williams disappear into history. You're not letting that happen.
No.
Because he had an important role in our history. He was a real person. Tell me about
Elbert Williams was a real person. He was in his early 30s. He lived in West Tennessee, near Memphis. And he was a member of the local NAACP. And this was after the turn of the century. And that was actually in the 1930s. And he was active in that organization. And he has the dubious distinction of being the very first person, we think, killed for advocating for civil rights in the United States through the NAACP. I mean, lots of people were lynched and abused outside of that context, but Elbert was one of the first to stand up for voting rights here in Tennessee and to be killed for it. And his body was buried in an unmarked grave. And attorney Jim Emerson, who has been president of the Tennessee Bar Association, the Tennessee Trial Lawyers, retired about 9 years ago. And he decided to devote his retirement not to golf, not to playing around, but to finding some justice for Elbert Williams. And he has worked very hard in that and also in getting a statute passed, which Governor Haslam signed last year, to create a center for cold civil rights cases in the state of Tennessee so that other people who have been forgotten, literally buried, will be remembered.
The Elbert Williams murder is a cold case, and
Yes,
that
it
it
is.
has not been solved.
No, but it's just been recently reopened because of
Interesting.
Jim Emerson, yeah.
Interesting. The idea that he deserves that justice.
Absolutely. Justice delayed but not denied.
The show is your weekly constitutional. You talk about constitutional issues. It was the death of many in the civil rights struggle that prompted the court finally to act,
Yes,
right?
it
What's
was.
that bigger context of Supreme Court involvement?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was the whole civil rights movement. It was the violent reactions to it. It was the publicity, the newspapers, the TV. All of that was the context in which the court decided the seminal case of Brown versus Board of Education, which ended school segregation and really was sort of the benchmark against which the rest of this era is measured.
And it was, then the rest came tumbling down in terms of
It did.
statutorily guarded
Right.
segregation, right?
Right.
So you're talking to people who are working in the case? Or
I
who
spoke to
knows
Jim
it?
Emerson
Oh,
specifically,
really?
and yeah, Jim he's a trial lawyer, so he can tell a story.
The two of you.
But he's great. He's fantastic. He's got this wonderful resonant voice, and he's got a wonderful West Tennessee accent. So I'm going to tell you now about the case of Elbert Williams, and you're riveted.
And you're riveted.
You're riveted.
Well, you'll have a chance to be riveted when you tune in and listen to the radio show called Your Weekly Constitutionalist. We've heard around the world. It's airs broadcasting from 89.5 WETS Sundays at 3, and then the rebroadcast is Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Stuart, thank you.
Thank you, Josh.